When 35-year-old Loveness would match with the suspect in this case, Isidro, on a dating app, her life would take a turn for the worst. Now, we know that after exchanging a few messages on the dating app, that they would move on to WhatsApp, like many people do in that type of situation, and afterwards they would arrange a date. Now, we know that Loveness would go missing on the 12th of June, and she was last seen heading on a date with the suspect in this case, 36-year-old Isidro. And we know that Loveness wanted to meet Hulda at a lodge. And he said, listen, I'll call you an Uber and we can just meet there. And it seems as though he was being a nice guy. But what would happen is that the Uber would instead direct Loveness to Hulda's house. And when she would arrive, she would share her location with a friend, saying, this looks dodgy. Now, no one would hear from Loveness again, and she would go missing on the 12th of June, 2025. Now, while Loveness has been missing, bodies of women were turning up in the same community where she was last seen. You see, the residents of Eersterus had a suspected serial killer on the loose, and it was causing mass panic because between two train stations that are roughly around 2.5 kilometers away from each other, bodies of 3 women were discovered, and they had been burnt beyond recognition, and they had been dumped next to the tracks as though they were a piece of rubbish. Now, we know that on the 31st of July, Loveness's body would be discovered.
Yeah, definitely. This is a fastly developing story. We're in Eersterus currently right now with the community members and the councillor. We're still in search for the family of some of the deceased. What I can tell you is that we now have established that 4 bodies have been discovered by the SAPS from the month June to July. On my right-hand side is a crime scene where we now know that a separate body was found here. So the tally would be 5 bodies that have been found. And with this body here, it wasn't burnt, but rather the deceased was discovered here by the community members who then dialed law enforcement who came here and then came here to investigate what could be happening. Many suspect that there could be a serial killer on the prowl, and law enforcement is saying that they are swiftly looking into this matter. A task team has been established to crack the whip, including crime intelligence and other senior officers.
But her body was not discovered along the train tracks. Instead, she was discovered partially buried in the suspect in this case, Isidro's garden, basically on his property. And it is alleged that she had a hand sticking out of the grave, and that when she was brought to the surface, she was found not burnt at all, but with a piece of clothing around her neck, as though perhaps she had been strangled. Now, police would act quickly and quickly identify Hulda as the potential suspect in this case, and we know that Hulda would flee. He would be warned that the police were looking for him, and he would flee from Eersterus to his grandmother's house in Polokwane, where police would arrest him on the 4th of August in the early morning hours at 2 a.m. Now, while he was being taken into custody, right, on the 4th of August, a body of another woman, burnt beyond recognition, would be found at about 3:30 the same day on that set of train tracks, right, between Dennebloem and Waldlo train stations. Now, this is where the plot thickens, because we know that when Hulda was in jail, he was arrested on the 4th of August. And on the 5th of August, while he was in police custody, 2 other women would be attacked. Now, I have seen the videos of this attack, and although the women were not killed, they were badly injured. Whoever did this to these women were intending on killing them. That I can tell you for sure. So do we have 2 serial predators on the loose in the same community of Eersterus? Or was Hulda responsible for all of them? And this is just a copycat. Comment below what you think. Now, we know that Isidro has abandoned his bail application, and police have not formally linked him with the other murders. We know that since his arrest, right, no other burnt bodies have appeared except for that one that was discovered on the afternoon of his arrest. Now, we don't know if that area was searched before, if perhaps he could have placed the body there or not. But what we do know is that there is clearly one other violent offender that is currently on the loose in Eersterus and who is attacking women, although perhaps not in the same modus operandi as what is alleged that Halder has done to Loveness. We know that Halder, at the time of his arrest, he was out on bail for rape. So he already had a 2023 rape charge against him, which he was granted bail on. And since his apprehension, he has been accused of 10 more rapes.
Let's get you other news closer to home now. The case against a 36-year-old man accused of murder has been postponed to the 15th of October. He's suspected of being behind the killing of a woman whose body was found in Eersterust. The suspect himself, though, was arrested in Polokwane on Monday. Watching developments for us is SABC News reporter Patricia Vasachi, who joins us now live. And Patricia, help us understand what took place in court. It must have been a brief appearance.
Well, good morning. It was a brief appearance, of course, that of the accused, 36-year-old Halder Isidro, who appeared in the Pretoria Magistrate Court very briefly, as I've already mentioned. Of course, the matter has been postponed to the 15th of October this year, and this for further investigations. You'd understand that he appeared without any legal representation, and he was advised to get somebody to speak on behalf of him, somebody that is obviously well informed about the law. He told the court that he would want to speak for himself, but the magistrate advised him that it would be rather to his advantage and in the best interest of justice for him to get a representative. So he will be getting a lawyer from Legal Aid when he comes back. And it's very interesting to mention that on that very same day, he is also expected to appear on a separate matter, similar offence. So it seems like there is a lot that will be unpacked when it comes to this particular individual. You'd understand that community activists have also come to court. They have been mobilizing, raising much concern, in particular the timing of this particular offence that's taking place. It's taking place in the month of August that we know it's Women's Month. It's geared towards perhaps elevating, some positivity about women and the empowerment of women. I want to bring in Tembo Masango from Not In My Name. You heard that, of course, the matter being postponed to the 15th of October. But interesting enough, the accused will also be appearing on a separate matter, similar charges. What do you make of that?
Indeed, Patricia, and as you know, that the community of Eersterus and Mamelodi are in tenterhooks and they are living in fear on a daily basis, because just over this past month it's 7 women that have passed on in circumstances that seem to be linked to a so-called serial killer that may be in our midst. And this here accused perpetrator is appearing today on this charge of rape and defeating the ends of justice. And as you rightly say, that on the 15th of October he'll be back on a separate charge which is similar to this one of the gender-based violence and sexual assault. And we are hoping that the police will be able to connect the dots appropriately and be able to get the perpetrator behind bars. What we are happy about is that he has abandoned bail. He does not want to come out, and he shouldn't come out because his safety will not be guaranteed. So until this issue is ventilated in a proper court of law, he should stay behind those bars. But we are also just saying that the police should get their stories in order, because last night there was a statement released that he's linked to perhaps more than one rape charge, and now all of a sudden there's other rape charges. So yeah, we'll see what happens as the case goes, but we are going to be here until justice is served.
And we've been seeing videos circulating and they're gruesome of nature. Of course, we don't have, confirmation from the police in terms of what's happening there, but we've seen about 2 videos this morning, women who were stabbed, and the information that we receive is that these women were attacked in the vicinity of Eersterus and Mamelodi. You have shown me one of the videos, very, very disturbing. What do you make of this, of that, as we obviously, close this matter today?
It is very, very disturbing and very gruesome. The court is telling us that we should not release them and ask the public also not to circulate them, because we don't know whether they are actually linked to this current case or not, concretely speaking, obviously. But otherwise, we are of the view that, if it's this issue, needs to be properly ventilated, and if these videos aren't linked, they should be put into the court as part of evidence, and this guy must get the harshest of sentences.
All right, thank you. I also want to bring in the NPA spokesperson, Lumka Mahanjana. Thank you so much for joining us. Brief appearance, but from the NPA side, with this matter that will be resuming in October, what exactly will be the focus area? Of course, very serious charge that the accused is facing. As I mentioned to even Temba, the fact that he is apparently linked to another similar matter.
So the accused here in this matter is facing a charge of murder and defeating the administration of justice. However, on a separate incident where he's appearing in this very same court, he's facing a charge of rape. Those matters will come back to this court on the very same day, on the 15th of October.
Thank you so much. Of course, the community members, as I said, that have been gathering here since this morning, just calling for transparency, calling for proper investigations into this matter, in particular as there is a lot of information that's circulating, videos, gruesome of nature that's making the rounds, and the other concern, that of the bodies of women that were found at a nearby railway line around the Eersterus area. Of course, at this stage, there is no evidence that link the current accused to these particular incidents, but it has left the community on tenterhooks, where they are demanding proper investigation so that there is clarity whether these incidents are linked, whether the accused that is before court already, as you have mentioned, that's very concerning, is the fact that he will be appearing on another similar case on the very same day. That is one of the matters that the community members saying that it seems like there is a particular culture that is linked to this particular accused, and they demanding proper investigations. They're also demanding swift justice, and we just really need to reiterate some of the messages from the police, urging women to come forward who may know something, or anyone from the communities and various parts of the country who might have information to come forward to this as investigations continue. You'd understand that this particular accused was arrested in Limpopo in the men's village. This after he apparently fled, after he allegedly committed this particular murder that he is charged with here at the Pretoria Magistrate Court, and he was tracked down by a multi-pronged operations, different detectives from the Silverton police station, Limpopo detectives as well, who all worked together to find him, and he was ultimately nabbed in the early hours of Monday morning. So police saying that they're doing all they can to make sure that they get to the bottom of what happened here, and of course the NPA also doing their bit to make sure that they've got a strong case. Already the NPA reflecting that they've got confidence that they've got a watertight case, but of course early days, brief appearance, we'll see what happens in the next coming days, and perhaps the next 2 to 3 months before this case is back in court.
Halder will next time be appearing in court on the 16th of October 2025, and I intend on following this case. So if this is something that you are interested in me following, please give me a like and a follow and subscribe. And you can also find me on TikTok. TikTok is actually my main platform where I am under Carri Bloom and I cover breaking crime stories as they happen.